The penultimate round of the World Endurance Championship generated a bunch of different headlines. In this video, we're going to unpack the 6 hours of Fuji, talking about the top runners, the other riders, and what it means for the championship. I think we need to start off with the podium finishes. 3 different manufacturers, and they're the same different manufacturers that we have in the top 5, with 4 in the top 6, 5 in the top 7, 6 in the top 8, 7 in the top 9, and all 8 in the top 10. Alpine get their first win since 2022, since the grandfathered LMP1. It's a first win for their Hypercar, the LMDH platform, and it's the 35 that takes the win. From the Peugeot 93. Peugeot got both of their cars into the top 5, so did Porsche, and that's great for them, a resurgence after what's been a tricky year for them in the balanced performance game. But that podium, wow. A great win for Alpine, the heir to the Habsburg throne that ruled Europe for centuries, gets a win in the World Endurance Championship. But they were spectacular throughout the day. They made the most when it came to the pit windows, full course yellow safety cars. They made the most of the pit strategy, and you've got to when you talk about the World Endurance Championship. And you could say that for, realistically, the top 5, maybe the top 6. Because it was all about who pitted when. Who managed to go longer. Who managed to have less time in the pit lane whilst it was green flag. But you've got to do that in a 6-hour race. Qualifying is one thing, but the race is another. And for the top 3 today, they more than lived up to that. Well done to all 3 of them. But you could say a similar thing for the rest of the top 10 in the Hypercar class. The number 5 overcame adversity to get into the top 5, as did the 94 Peugeot. Stoffel Vandoorne ending his Peugeot stint in the World Endurance Championship with a top 5. That's really nice of Peugeot, getting both of their cars up there. What's also incredibly impressive is the 009 getting 6th. The best result again for Aston Martin. And hey, what were they, 3rd in qualifying? It's been a fantastic run for the Valkyrie. It shows that V12 is good around power circuits, and hopefully the BOP means they can remain somewhat competitive when we go to Bahrain for the finale. You do feel a bit for Jota though. The 12 was the best of them when it came to the race results as 7th. Meanwhile, the 38 was down in 13th. And they had amazing pace. A front row lockout. I did say in my preview, keep an eye out for the Cadillacs. But there was bad luck as well. Largely revolving around pit strategy. And that's why you see them down there. The 7 being the best Toyota, the number 8, the lucky number 8, had some bad luck. It was, what, Puncher when Buemi was behind the wheel, right? So, in the end, the best Toyota is in 7th place. Sorry, 8th place. It's a 7 car. Whilst the sole remaining BMW at the end was in 9th. The only Ferrari that made it to the top 10 was the 83 in 10th place. So for Ferrari, who were looking at trying to get all the championships wrapped up here, it didn't really go according to plan, did it? Outside of them was the 50, the 99, like I mentioned, the 38. The 36 was in 14th. In 15th, you had the 51. But the 38 was the first car a lap down. The 8 was 2 laps down. And then we had the 2 retirements. The Heart of Racing 007, which hit the Heart of Racing LMGT3 car. And then the number 15 WRT. That was a massive accident. Looked like a brake check. It wasn't. It's just one of those things that I guess we can briefly mention that cold tyres are lethal in hypercars. I mean, I've seen it in the simulator, I've seen it in LMU, I've seen it in iRacing. I don't know what the workaround is. Is it bringing back tyre blankets? I know that's what the drivers want. I know it's probably what the teams would want. But is there a way of being able to get the tyres to do what they should out of the box at a lower cost? That I would be interested in the LMGT3s, and it was the win for TF Sport. They didn't cross the line at first, but they very nearly did with that 21 Vista AF Corsa running really slow on the final lap. They had an 8-second advantage going into the final lap. It ended up being 2 seconds at the line. With a 5-second penalty that they had, it dropped them 2 seconds. The podium being rounded out by the 31 BMW, with the 46 not far behind. The top 5 being rounded out by the Mante First Form 92, with the Vista AF Corsa 54 in 6th, the last car on the lead lap. That was a fine run from all of the different outfits that are up at the front towards the end. Different pieces of contact here and there did decide the race, with penalties being doled out for various different teams. But when you have a look at the other results, let's go all the way down to the bottom. You kind of feel for Proton, don't you? With the retirement and the damage to the car, they had to just pull off to the side. But elsewhere, there was a couple of cars that dropped more than one lap. The Iron Lynx 60 was running slow at a couple of different points. You do feel for Iron Lynx, they've had a rough couple of seasons. On the other hand, the 61 did get a top 10. And it beat both the Lexus cars. And both the McLarens. And both the Fords. So things are getting better for the Mercedes WEC entry. The Iron Dames were down in 13th. That was some other poor luck for them, because they had been running competitively at different points as well. But overall, drama, chaos, and entertainment for the LMGT3s. But I do have to talk about the number of forecourse yellows and safety cars that were there for WEC 100, because it felt a bit IMSA. The last couple of IMSA races that we've had all the classes available for, Road America and Indianapolis, we just saw caution after caution after caution. Safety car after safety car after safety car. It wasn't quite Road America, but Fuji felt very close to it. Sometimes it's to do with things on the circuit, right? The track creates these opportunities, these pinch points where you are going to have inter and intra-class violence. But at the same time, there were points where people were like driving into each other on straights or in braking zones. And I don't know what the solution is. Is it to make the cars less fragile? Because, well, actually, make them more fragile. I was going to say less fragile because then it means that less things are more prone to falling off. But if you make them more fragile, people are less likely to hit each other. Because what if you rip the suspension off? Let me know your thoughts on that one, because it creates an interesting dichotomy. I'm going to wrap up this video by talking about the different championship standings. We go into the finale in Bahrain, where there is a separate kind of points allocation, again, because it's an 8-hour race, to what we've had throughout the 6 hours here. It is mathematically possible that it's a 3-horse race in the finale. I would say that the 12 is just about outside of it, unfortunately. I think it actually is mathematically outside of it now. But it's between the 51, the 83, and the 6. The 51's on 115 points, the 83 on 101, and the 6 is on 94. Practically, it is a 2-horse race. It will be very difficult for the 6 to overhaul both a 7-point deficit on the 83 and a 21-point deficit on the 51. They would need to see Ferrari have another weekend like they've had here. I mean, granted, since Le Mans, the BOP has not helped them. But realistically, I would say it's between the 83 and the 51. And maybe it'll come down to what happened at Spa being the deciding factor. Maybe. But for Ferrari, they're probably more likely going to be focusing on what's going on in the manufacturer's race. Because, again, it is close. It's not so close that it's on the flip of a coin. But getting down to 39 points when we've seen a weekend where, well, Porsche got 27, Ferrari got 1. That could see a massive swing with just this final race left. If Ferrari again have the issues they had here, and if Porsche managed to win, God forbid, get a 1-2, it could easily be that we see Porsche take the Manufacturers' Championship. It could be that we see Porsche take one, Ferrari take the other. Meanwhile, AF Corsa are pretty much guaranteed. I think they are entirely mathematically guaranteed now. The World Cup for Hypercar teams. They have 80 points over Proton competition. In fact, is it surprising? Proton are more or less an independent team, whereas AF Corsa are, AF Corsa, the same people that are running the Works Ferrari program. Elsewhere in LMGT3, the 92 is on 105 points and the 21 is on 94. If you were behind the wheel of 92, you're going to hope that this weekend was the chance to wrap up the championship, but you're going to be happy that the 21 fell late to that penalty. The 81 is on 81 points, and they could take a challenge into the final round. I mean, technically, I think the 33 could as well. But that is going to be a massive ask. Because the gap is 24 points from the 81 to the 92. The 33 is 35 points behind. It's a similar situation with the 21 and 94, the 92 and 105, where it could feasibly be a 3-horse race, but practically it's probably only a 2-horse race. Same deal for LMGT3 teams. But either way, WEC 100 was an interesting affair. I liked the graphics that they had for it. Though, whilst I get that the thing is now to put the line through the 0 to indicate that it's a 0, I think it would have still looked cool without the line through the 0. Maybe I'm just nitpicking, but that's what I do quite a bit here, don't I? I also do that over my sim racing channel. If you want to have a look at that, I've just released a video on the latest DLC for Le Mans Ultimate. You can find that in the description down below. But as always, folks, thank you so much for watching and joining, and until next time, it's bye-bye for now.